Audio Jungle.
Southern California, good evening and welcome to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Tonight we have ourselves a busy show tonight, such as USC football playing in the Pac-12 Championship as we speak, and they are playing Oregon. Will the Trojans come out on top, or will they fall flat to the Ducks? And the Chargers have now won not one but two games in a row, both by one score, beating the Atlanta Falcons and the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Los Angeles Rams can punch a spot into the playoffs if they could beat the New York Jets, which is most likely, but you never know with Sam Darnold. And the Lakers and Clippers are gearing up for their regular season showdown as the two take the court next Tuesday in the matchup that actually counts. Which team will come out on top? And will the Lakers be enjoying their championship ring ceremony? Also, we have some NCAA basketball news as San Diego State suffered their first loss to BYU. How crucial was this loss, and how much did BYU beat them by? And was it that ugly? All that and more on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for tuning in on this beautiful Friday evening. It's Friday and it is TGIF and it's almost Christmas time, which is hard to believe. Feels like this year has just flown by very quickly. So, without any further delay, let's get on into some Southern California sports action. But first, I actually have a guest on my show. I think this guest is someone most people all know too well about. He is my brother from the same mother, and he is a big Lakers fan, and he's a big Rams fan, and he's probably excited about how the Rams are one win away from clinching a postseason berth, and who knows, maybe even actually clinching the NFC West. Without any further delay, introducing my guest, my brother from the same mother, Teran Rodriguez. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. You know, it's almost Christmas. We're almost at the end of this S show of a year. I'm not sure if I can cuss on this show, but I'll play it safe and not get you into trouble. But yeah, it's been a really tough year. I think most, if not everybody, will be glad that this year will be over with.
Yes, and I actually didn't put the explicit tag up there, so good job on not cussing. But without any further delay, let's get into some SoCal sports action. So let's start off with the LA Rams. And we actually have a fan in the chat room, Larry B, saying, "What's up, Justin?" And he says, and he tells me, "Thanks for tuning in to the Defining Moment, his show." So let's talk some.
Good to see you again, Larry.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk some Rams action. So the Rams, to me, have exceeded a lot of expectations this year. They have.
Sure have.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they've after missing the playoffs last year, even though they had themselves a winning season. They are one win away from clinching a spot in the playoffs, and they actually can clinch a spot in the playoffs if they beat the New York Jets. And what have you been liking about the Rams? Because the last time they played was last Thursday against the Patriots, where they kind of spanked them. Even though it wasn't a big blowout, they made their statement known.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what's really, even though I think Jared Goff has had a pretty good year. Not great. He's had his ups and downs, but really, in my opinion, the main reason why they're 9-4 is because of their defense. And if you watch the Rams game last Thursday, you know exactly what I mean. I mean, you just look at the score. I mean, the final score will tell you it all. 24-3. I mean, the Patriots go from just putting on an absolute, smackdown on your Chargers. Sorry to bring that up again, but yeah, 45-0 to only being able to score 3 points, against the Rams. It just goes to show that just defines the tale of the two franchises here in Los Angeles, especially Aaron Donald. I mean, if Aaron Donald's not the best defensive player in the NFL, I don't know who is. But yeah, they made Cam Newton so uncomfortable, like he couldn't do a thing, and it might have ended the Patriots season there, but overall, the defense has been fantastic. Even in games where Jared Goff hasn't played particularly well in, the defense has kept him in it. The reason why they lost those 4 games is because they just came up short. But with this defense, I think the Rams have a chance to win every game, and that includes maybe even I don't want to jump the gun here, but maybe even the Super Bowl. You just never know.
Yeah, and I agree. And to me, I think the NFC as a whole is wide open. Like, no one...
For sure.
Yeah, no one is, like, a true favorite. Like, the AFC obviously goes through the Chiefs and maybe the Steelers, but the Steelers are kind of getting exposed at the wrong time. So to me, the NFC... They
look like a team that peaked way too early.
Yeah, and you look at the NFC as a whole. The Packers have had some of their games where they just looked flat, as they lost to the Vikings one game, they lost to the Colts in overtime, even though they won the coin toss. And I want to say the Packers lost to Tampa Bay, which is borderline of playoffs and not making playoffs, but I'm sure they'll get in. Speaking of flat, USC has just looked flat today.
You don't think Tampa Bay makes the playoffs?
I think they can. I think Tampa Bay can make the playoffs, considering they're just too offensively stacked, and their schedule is very favorable. Like, they have the Falcons, then they have the Lions, and they have the Falcons again. All of which, those 3 teams are basically pretty much chokers for the most part when it comes to choking leads and whatnot.
Yeah, I'd be stunned if Tampa Bay doesn't get into the playoffs. Especially with the schedule you just mentioned. I mean, I know Tom Brady hasn't been great. At least not the Tom Terrific we're accustomed to seeing. But let's be honest here. For his age, he's been nothing short of well. I mean, at least something to write home about. Yeah, I'm sure they'll get it. They may not win the division, but they'll win they'll get one of the wild cards. I don't think they pass the Rams though.
Yeah,
or the Seahawks for that matter.
I agree, and I think if the Bucs do play the Rams again, I don't see them actually winning that game, because if they couldn't beat him the first time, I highly doubt they'll beat him the second time. But you never know with Tom Brady. But I think Tom Brady's kind of, I won't say this as to jump the gun, but I think Tom Brady might have reached his peak. I think he's pretty much reached his limit. he's
past his peak, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it showed last year in the playoffs against Tennessee. Albeit Tennessee is a pretty good team, and they are well coached, and they have some good key pieces, but I think losing at Foxborough was kind of like the icing on the cake for them, for the most part, when it comes to like Tom Brady. So I think he's kind of regressed, but you never can count him out. But without Bill Belichick, nothing against Bruce Arians, but I don't think they'll have the same playoff success as they have in the past when Tom played for the Patriots. So we'll see how it goes, though. But you look at the NFC as a whole. Green Bay has had, Green Bay. I talked about Green Bay. The Saints, they just recently lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I was very surprised they lost to the Eagles. I get that Jalen Hurts is a very good a pretty good quarterback, even though he's a rookie. And I think the Eagles should have probably gone with Jalen Hurts a little while back, but I didn't expect him to like beat him convincingly. They led for the most part, which makes me wonder what the heck happened to the Saints. So the Saints turned into the Aints. So so yeah, and then you look at the Rams. The Rams have had their only ugly loss was to the Miami Dolphins, where nothing just went their way after they scored the first touchdown. That defense of Miami's just straight up discombobulated them. But other than that, they don't have too many other bad losses. So, and then you look at Seattle. Seattle's defense is basically wet cardboard. They do not have a good defense. It's not like the Legion of Boom. So, and then you look at the Bucs. The Bucs have had some questionable wins. Like they don't have a true standout win other than Green Bay. And even Green Bay, it was still a little lofty. They had to dig their way out of a 10-point hole early on, but and again, it's not anything of insult to the Bucs. I think the Bucs are a good team, but I still don't think they're gonna go all the way. I think the Bucs. The buck stops there in at least no further than the divisional round. But if they play the Rams, it's one and done for them. So.
I'm just looking at Seattle's schedule right now. 2 of their final 3 games of the season are against potential playoff opponents. They've got Washington on Sunday. They're fighting for for the division crown and playoff berth. They've got the Rams the week after that. That could decide the division right there. And they wrap up against the 49ers. So I mean, if Washington beats Seattle on Sunday, there's a chance, I guess, that the Bucs pass Seattle. They're only a game back of Seattle, and the Rams for that matter. But I think the Rams get at least 2 of these final 3 games. I'm sorry. Seattle. I think they beat Washington, but it's a coin flip. I mean, Washington's been on a roll lately. And then they're fighting for a playoff berth. So we'll see.
Washington's defense has been very impressive. Obviously they have the sensation known as Chase Young, the number 2 pick, and they are well coached with Ron Rivera, who's turned that program around, and it's quite amazing. And again, the NFC East, or as most people call it, the NFC least, because it is probably the least best division, is definitely been a complete S show. The NFC East is basically 2020 altogether. And with the exception of Alex Smith coming back and playing amazing at quarterback. And then to me, I think the Seahawks aren't invincible altogether. I think the Seahawks are just as vulnerable because they lost to the Giants a week ago, which I think that surprised practically everyone. I couldn't believe it more so than the next person. It's quite surprising. But I think the Rams, to me, for now, are the most well-organized team in the NFC. I mean, the Packers are also up there, but I think the Rams are making their case because they have a very talented defense. They have some good corners. Their offense is okay. It's not the greatest thing, but it's not the worst thing. So overall, I think the Rams are in a good position going forward. And like you said, I could see them winning 2 out of the next 3. At least 2, because the Jets are a complete plane wreck, and the Cardinals they've had success over. The Seahawks are basically a coin flip because Seattle sometimes has inconsistencies on offense and mainly defense. Like, the defense is what is Seattle's big weakness because, it's not Legion of Boom. Like, even though they did get Jamal Adams from the Jets, like, even he hasn't had his best year, and he's been injured off and on. So I think the Rams are in a good position. They just got to play their cards right and not play down to their competition. Because if you all remember back the first time when the Seahawks and the Rams faced one another, the Rams shut down DK Metcalf, their top wide receiver, and it was just difficult for him to get anything going. And it was the first time Russell Wilson failed to score a throwing touchdown, which was a first time in forever or whatnot. So just a little Snapple fun fact for you. So I think that the sky is the limit when it comes to the Rams, as long as they play their cards right. I don't know if they can get the top spot, but you never know. You look at Green Bay's schedule. Green Bay obviously has the Panthers, which is favorable. They have the Titans, which that's a coin flip, actually. The Titans will obviously want to try to win that one, considering they want to improve their playoff position, since you can't take a chance with how they're still tied with the Colts in the AFC South. If the Titans win out, I think, and the Colts win out, if the two both go 3-0 or 2-0 or 2-1, then the Titans have the tiebreaker in terms of I think tougher strength of schedule or divisional schedule or whatnot. Either way, the Titans are in control of their own destiny. The Colts basically have to win out, so we shall see. So looking ahead to the Jets-Rams game, the Jets are obviously a plane wreck, and Sam Darnold is doing his darndest to try to get the Jets their first win, and it's just not working. I think that...
What is wrong with that team? There's all sorts of things wrong with that team and that franchise, but you have a great quarterback in Sam Darnold, or at least he was great in college, but why, I think you're a great guy to ask since you're a USC guy. Why is it that they get a great quarterback from SC like Sam Darnold, and they still can't right the ship? And again, he's not the only one. They have had a history of drafting great quarterbacks from SC and flopping with them. Is it the quarterback? Is it the coach? Is it the offensive line? What's the deal? What is the deal with the Jets?
I think it's because the Jets can't draft properly. Sometimes they draft the worst players at the worst.
Well, they draft the quarterbacks, right? That's the only thing they get right.
Yeah, the quarterbacks, but they one time drafted a kicker in the second round, which is quite mind-boggling. And they always have players that are old as dirt, in my opinion. They have Frank Gore, which is one of the oldest players in the NFL. So it's just crazy. Although in the upcoming draft, I wouldn't begrudge the Chargers from drafting a kicker in the second round. Yeah, but you normally would like to draft that in the third round. And you mentioned USC. USC at the moment is getting thumped by Oregon. They're down 14-0 in the first quarter, and Keaton Slovis has thrown 2 interceptions. I am highly concerned. But enough about that.
Well, it's still early.
Yeah, and USC has been known for pulling out big comebacks. Hint, hint, last week against...
Yeah, exactly.
Hint, hint, last week against UCLA. So, back to the Rams. There's no doubt the Rams will win. I hate for Sam to have his homecoming spoiled this week.
All the defense needs to do is just show up, and the Rams automatically win.
Mm-hmm. Yes, stop Jamison Crowder or Brashad Perriman's probably going to get covered by Jalen Ramsey or Troy Hill. And then Aaron Donald just needs to feast. And I hate for Sam to have his homecoming back to California spoiled, because when the Jets played the Chargers, they played him at SoFi, and Sam didn't play that game. It was Joe Flacco. So we could be seeing Joe Flacco if Sam just does not have his best game, but I think Sam's going to make the most of it. And even though there's not going to be fans in the stands, obviously, but Sam is from Southern California, comes from San Clemente, and as we know already, he played for USC and whatnot. So we'll see. But I have the Rams winning. What's a nice way to give a score to the Jets without being ultimately mean? I'm going to say the Rams win 38-10. I just think it's going to be that convincing of a game. And I don't know who the backup QB for the Rams is, but I think we may see him a little bit. I think we'll see him.
Isn't it Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles actually got released, and he's with he's with the Broncos now. So it used to be Blake Bortles, but now he's on the Broncos. The backup QB is John Wolford, and he comes from Wake Forest, which is cool, I guess. But I didn't know who.
That's where Chris Paul's from.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, but to me, I think there's no doubt in my mind the Rams win. And remember, the Rams clinch a spot in the playoffs if they get the win. And the thing I only fear for the Rams is if they look too far, if they look ahead to Seattle.
It's a trap game. Well, as long as Sean McVay emphasizes, look, all we need to do is win this game, and we have the division. I'm sorry, we have a playoff spot. Get into the playoffs, and then the next thing is the division. They win that game against. If they win that game against Seattle, then the division crown is theirs. Because because then after that, the best Seattle can do is force a tie, and the Rams will have the tiebreaker too.
Indeed, true, and I just think the Rams basically control their destiny, but next week's game is going to be crucial, and the reason why I think the Rams will beat the Cardinals is because in recent past, the Rams.
Cardinals?
Yeah. Well, not next week, but the week after. But I think the reason why I think the Rams can beat the Cardinals is I haven't really touched too much upon this, but I think they can beat the Cardinals because they've had recent success against them. They've had a lot of good success over the Cardinals, and I think they're just. And they took them apart the first time they played, and this was after the Rams lost to the 49ers, and they knew they needed to win that game in order to stay in the playoff hunt and the NFC West hunt, because had they lost, they wouldn't have been able to gain traction after the Giants win over the Seahawks. The Giants win over the Seahawks. So overall, again, it is a trap. this week could be a trap game. They just can't play the way they did against the 49ers both times. And they just can't play the way they played against the Dolphins.
Look at it this way. There's only 3 games left in the season. You need 1 to get into the playoffs. 1 for sure to get into the playoffs. Or at least to know for sure you get into the playoffs. Sorry to be so repetitive, but now I'm just trying to get it right. But yeah, why not get it out of the way? That's all the motivation you need.
Yes, and I just can't imagine the Rams losing to the Jets. Like, in no way, shape, or form would the Rams lose a game to a team like that.
Well, the more we beat a dead horse, the more we may jinx him.
but I think in every facet of the game, the Rams are just better than the Jets in. And then the Jets are pretty much just shipping it in. I think they're just on the verge of tanking for Trevor Lawrence, that is. And
here we go again with the what do you call those things? Those phrases, those memes. Tank for Trevor, suck for Luck, rigging for Wiggins.
Suck for Sewell, Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman from Oregon. Yeah. Choke for Chase, Jamar Chase. We can go on and on.
You've got them all.
Flatten for Fields. The list can go on and on, but we get the point. So we shall see. So, any other facts?
Flatten for Fields. It's like flattening the curve for COVID.
So, you have any other things you want to talk about the Rams, or did anything pop out at you when it came to the Rams, or how impressed were you when they beat the Patriots? And did you think it was like a revenge game for that Super Bowl loss that the Patriots handed the Rams back a couple of years ago?
I think maybe partly, at least for Sean McVay, it was. I was listening to I forget who the sideline reporter was, whether it was Aaron Andrews or Christina Pink or whoever, but it was on Fox. Whoever it was, they talked to Sean McVay, and they asked him about that Super Bowl game, and Sean McVay admitted he overprepared, and they just weren't themselves, and it's just because he has so much respect for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick that he wasn't himself. He couldn't be himself, but obviously this is a much different team that they played against last Thursday compared to the team they faced in Super Bowl. I forget what number it was, but in the Super Bowl in 2019. So yeah, I mean the only familiar face they saw was Bill Belichick. So and Sony Michel and a few others too, but none of the big names other than Belichick are there, obviously. Outside of that, I think, like I said, like I mentioned before with the Jets, the Rams are just keeping their eyes on the prize. They suffered a heartbreaking loss against the hated 49ers, and they got their groove back against Arizona, and they're continuing their run. They continue their run against the Patriots, and hopefully that continues with the Jets, and hopefully they continue to ride this wave to the division crown and maybe even potentially the conference crown.
So my question is this: how are the Rams able to take down the Seahawks and the Cardinals, but they always find ways to lose to the 49ers? Like, the first time it was one thing because Jimmy G is undefeated as the against the Rams as the 49ers starter. But against the second time when the 49ers were starting, I think it was CJ Beathard, they pretty much had to play from behind, and then they eventually lost because Deebo Samuel is Deebo Samuel. So I just don't understand.
I don't understand either. It's a mystery that Sean McVay has not been able to figure out. What's his name's defense on the 49ers, whoever the defensive coordinator is. But I do the only thing I can figure. The only thing that comes to mind is that, Kyle Shanahan knows, I'm blanking on his name now, Sean McVay really, really well. He knows him really well, and, they have very similar schools of thought. So Kyle knows how to get to Jared Goff, and he knows how to attack Sean McVay's defense.
Yeah, it must be like a NorCal SoCal thing or something like that. I didn't know, but either way, it is somewhat impressive. But I guess it's better to lose to the 49ers, or it's better to lose then than lose in the postseason, because you don't want to lose in the postseason, but you don't want to have too many losses to the point where you could be.
Yeah, but it's still annoying because they are historically, at least in the while the Rams have been in LA, they've been our all-time arch nemesis. It's like Dodgers Giants. We don't like losing to the 49ers.
And the Giants and Dodgers fans don't like it when the Dodgers lose to the Giants. So.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So overall, it's the Rams are just confusing sometimes, but they still have an impressive team, and I think if they didn't get off to such a bad start against the Bills, I think that could have been a win, and then obviously their losses to the 49ers could have been a little bit better, especially the second time. The Dolphins, like I said, was a travesty from the get-go. And, overall, we're starting to see the Rams' big picture. I think the Rams play better against.
It was Tua's coming out party that Dolphins win against the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the Rams play better against superior teams when they're like the underdog, and then they play a little iffy against these subpar teams, like these below average teams. So it's just one of those things. It's one of those any given Sunday moments, or Saturday or Thursday or Monday, whenever, any given day in the NFL. So we'll see. So I think that's somewhat enough for the NFL, unless you have anything more you want to add.
Just one more quick thing. I was looking at the playoff picture, and hang on one sec. Because you mentioned Tampa Bay, the Bucs stopping at the division round. I mean, looking at the playoff picture, the only way I see them even getting to the division round, winning, is if they surpass Seattle. Excuse me, and they end up playing like Washington or the New York Giants in the in the wild card game. That 4-5 matchup. Because I don't see them beating Green Bay, New Orleans, or the LA Rams unless Drew Brees doesn't come back, which is a huge possibility that he may come back.
Drew Brees is actually supposed to play this week against the Kansas City Chiefs,
okay.
and but thanks for mentioning the Saints, because the Saints will be without Michael Thomas, their wide receiver, who is out with injury. I don't know the whereabouts of his injury. I want to say it's like a neck injury or something like that, but he's kind of been up and down on and off of IR and all sorts of like the punishment list. But either way, the Saints have one less wide receiver, and they'll more than likely be seeing Emmanuel Sanders go at it in terms of receiving. So we'll see. We shall see for the Saints. But I like the Chiefs winning that game, and the Saints had no business losing to the Eagles, like I said, because the Eagles were basically a mess trying out Jalen Hurts, and now they're basically... Now the Eagles kind of have momentum, and the Eagles are thinking, if we can win one game, maybe we can win another. But overall, I really like the Rams' chances in the playoffs. Like, again, the NFC is wide open, and anything can happen. Like, it's good that there's no like true dominant team. Like the AFC just always has that one team that no one can really get past, and no one has an answer for, such as the Patriots from back in the day, and then the Chiefs currently, and then, heck, even the Steelers, or, heck, the Cleveland Browns are on their way up, which I don't think I'd imagine myself saying that anytime soon. So yeah. All right, so let's move on from the NFL, and let's move on to some NBA action where the Lakers and the Clippers face off against one another next Tuesday. The Clippers haven't had too much good success in preseason, but the Lakers have. To me, however, I think it's still preseason and it doesn't overly matter, but I'm liking the Lakers so far. Like, Talon Horton-Tucker has definitely been a bright spot. And
Talon Horton-Tucker.
Or Talon, sorry, thank you. Talon Horton-Tucker has been what's the guy's name from the Bucks? I'm blanking on his name already.
Chris Middleton?
Not Middleton. The one they signed from the Bucks. It's Wesley Matthews. I knew it began with a W. So Wesley Matthews Jr.
The Lakers, you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but and then
you were talking about third option, so I was.
Yeah, and I also wonder what's gonna be befall the fate of KCP, because Lakers signed him back for quite a good amount of money, and they also have other options like Caruso, and they re-signed Devontae Cook, and they also brought back Markieff Morris. So. And they also signed Marc Gasol, and they may sign Pau back. It would be cool to see Pau Gasol back with the Lakers, like both Gasol brothers, like because Mark actually got traded for Pau back in the day, like, and then it's gonna come full circle, and that would be pretty cool. So what have you been liking about the Lakers in the preseason so far? And you could also talk about the Clippers as well, even though we're both Laker fans.
Well, couple things. First, the Lakers clearly won free agency with extending Anthony Davis and all the re-signings and acquisitions that they made. You just went down the list. Another big pickup they had, and this may be the biggest pickup, at least when it comes to crosstown rivalries, is signing Montrezl Harrell, plucking him away from the Clippers. So now we're even for the Clippers plucking Zubac away from us. But that's a great pickup. He's a great energy guy, to come off the bench, and really, and I think he's going to give him some good minutes. You mentioned Marc Gasol, and picking up Dennis Schroeder. That was huge, and also re-signing Talen Horton-Tucker. You mentioned him a little while ago. I heard somewhere that Talen Horton-Tucker, believe it or not, is like the fourth leading scorer in the NBA in the preseason. If you can believe that. The guy has just been absolutely insane. And if this team continues to click with Tucker, with Schroeder, and of course, LeBron and AD are going to do their things, but especially if their bench pieces come through, I mean, who beats this team? The Lakers may have even a deeper team than the Clippers. Remember last year they were comparing the Clippers and the Lakers as at least when it comes to their depth. They said the Clippers had the deeper team. I'm not so sure that's true anymore.
Yeah, I think the Clippers have point guard problems, and I think that obviously the Clippers did get some Serge Ibaka, which was Kawhi's teammate back when they were on the Raptors. And then they also locked up Paul George for 5 more years and $26 million. But I got to ask you about that. So what did you think? Okay, Anthony Davis obviously got a 5-year extension. I also got to mention that.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and then obviously LeBron got a 2-year extension. Mm-hmm. As for Paul George, like I said, he got a 5-year, $226 million deal, and Anthony Davis's extension was 5-year, $190 million. What can you say? Do you think the Clippers overpaid for Paul George, considering Paul George just did not have he just had himself a pandemic. He was pandemic P in the playoffs, and he just was not he just underperformed. So, do you think the Clippers overpaid him, or do you think that was just right?
Well, I think you just answered your own question. Go over the contract extensions again. Anthony Davis and Paul George.
Anthony Davis got $190 million for 5 years, while Paul George got $222 million or $226 million for 5 years. So, and
Anthony Davis is an NBA champion. He's maybe the best big man in the NBA. The only big man I think that rivals his skill set is Giannis. But but Anthony Davis, he's not only the best big man in the NBA, he's one of the top 3 players in the NBA. In fact, did you see the ESPN experts rank the NBA the best players in the NBA?
Mm-hmm. I did, and
for those of you that haven't seen it that are listening, LeBron, LeBron without question, no brainer, ranked number 1. Guess who number 2 is?
Giannis?
No.
Anthony Davis?
He's number 3. They ranked Anthony Davis as the second best player in the NBA. So not only do the ESPN experts the ESPN NBA experts, your Stephen A. Smiths, your Ramona Shelburns, your Brian Windhorst, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know the names. They not only ranked Anthony Davis the best big man in the NBA, he's the second best player in the NBA. Where is Paul George?
Exactly. And here's
no. Answer the question. Where did they rank Paul George?
I don't even know. I don't even know if he's top 10. Like, I didn't fully see
That's a good question. Yeah, I think they ranked him in the top 10 somewhere. I know they didn't rank him higher than Damian Lillard, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's not in the top 10. Because top 10 is LeBron, AD, Giannis, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, James Harden, and Nikola Jokic. It's like, okay. And with how much the Clippers had to give up to get Paul George, that's kind of looking like a worse decision than the Seattle Seahawks not running it on the 1-yard line in Super Bowl 49. So if the Clippers don't get a championship or at least reach the NBA Finals or the Western Conference Finals for that matter, this trade is going to be like one of their worst decisions in a while. So I definitely think they overpaid. I definitely think they overpaid Paul George, and for that long as well, like 5 years, like good lordy, like what are you doing? I was even wondering if they were even going to shop Lou Williams, because there were murmurs saying that Lou Williams could be shopped for a trade or whatnot. So I think
they were even linking Paul George to potential trades, but they decided to go. I mean, I don't know if those rumors are true. I'm just saying there were rumors, but no, they extended Paul George. Not only extended Paul George another 5 years, they gave him $30+ million more than Anthony Davis. And he's not even considered the best player on the team. And just based on his performance, in the playoffs last year, so-called playoff P, was not much of a factor. So how do you give him another $226 million? I'm not saying he isn't worth money. He's just not worth that much money. Not more than Anthony Davis, that's for sure.
Exactly, and Paul George even said it best. He wanted to be a number 3 or 4 option. He didn't want to be a number 1 or number 2 guy, and that's why he said that after Doc Rivers got the boot. And it's sad because I definitely think Paul George is a talented player, and God bless the man. Like, the dude had himself a nasty leg injury back in his indie days, but
look. I'm not trying to diminish Paul George. He's a great player, but he has yet to prove himself in the playoffs. Yes, he did get to the conference finals two years in a row, but the Clippers brought him to LA to help win a championship. But with this extension, things could change. But the Clippers are going to need more help if they're ever going to unseat the Lakers.
Indeed, and it's definitely looking like the Lakers have the brighter future ahead of them, and I'm loving it. Like, I'm loving it.
Well, they definitely have a brighter immediate future.
Mm-hmm. And there was something that happened in the media about Jerry West, about what he said about the Lakers. He said that the Lakers were an S show, or he had like what he said to Kawhi Leonard was the Lakers were an S show, and it was, or he just didn't have, he just basically threw the Lakers under the bus and lured Kawhi to the Clippers, and it's like, ugh. It's like you being the former Lakers saying them about that. I know the Lakers at the time were a complete S show, but they eventually got together. Rob Pelinka made the moves to better the Lakers, and the more we look at it, the more we now see that the Anthony Davis trade was definitely worth it, because the Lakers did have to give up a lot. They gave up Lonzo, they gave up Brandon Ingram, who is an improved player, a far improved player. They gave up Julius Randle, who eventually signed with the Knicks. They gave up Josh Hart, who I guess is playing well. And then they gave up the top 5 pick for Anthony Davis. But now it's looking like it's looking all better. Oh, and also the Lakers got rid of old man Ball, LeVar Ball, but that's not important because we don't care about LeVar Ball because
yeah, he's Michael Jordan's problem now.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, he was already Detroit's problem when LaMelo got cut, and oh well, like the Lakers no longer have to deal with that headache anymore, and that Gong Show. Good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the thing in the past. But but you mentioned Jerry West and him trashing the Lakers. It's been well documented that Jerry West left the Lakers in 2000, I believe. Just after the Lakers won their first championship with Shaq and Kobe. It's been well documented that Jerry West since then has not had the greatest relationship with the owners of the Los Angeles Lakers, the Buss family. And unfortunately, it seems like that feud is continuing. Or at least has continued up until that point where you mentioned, when the Lakers got Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers got Kawhi Leonard. Him calling the Lakers an S show. Ever since Jerry West left the Lakers, he's been trying to get him back. Trying to create his own identity, and say what you want about Jerry West, but he's done really well for himself ever since he left the Lakers. He had a subpar tenure with the Memphis Grizzlies. He obviously went to Golden State and helped make Golden State the basketball program it is today, going to 5 consecutive finals and winning 3 NBA championships. And I think the main reason why he took the job with the Clippers is to really finalize and prove himself against the Lakers. To get him back, he feels like he was wronged by the Lakers. I think it started with Phil Jackson. When the Lakers hired Phil Jackson, he wanted everything. Phil wanted to run the show, and they clashed on several occasions. Phil and Jerry West. He kind of felt shunned by Phil Jackson, and he was having issues with upper management, Dr. Buss, and eventually Phil got with Jeannie Buss. He wanted out, and ever since then he's been trying to get him back, and he thought he thought he was gonna with he should have with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That team was built to go to the conference finals, maybe even the NBA finals, but it hasn't panned out that way, and it seems like Jerry West, unfortunately, is eating his own words.
Yeah, and I will forever love Jerry West. Like, Jerry West, to me, even though I never witnessed him, he will forever be in all of Lakers' hearts. And
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just that he's just, I think, trying to find a new identity for himself has not panned out well. And if there was a year that the Clippers.
Wait! What? I just said he won 3 championships with Golden State.
Well, yeah. Other than the Warriors, but the Grizzlies were a little but the Grizzlies were in an interesting quagmire, like an interesting and not so good situation. And then the Clippers, if there was a year the Clippers were going to have success and get themselves on the map, it was supposed to be that year. Like they needed to won the championship last year, or at least gotten to the conference finals. So, but it's still early. I think the Clippers have promise, but you look at the West. The West is stacked. Like, you look at Denver, that's up there. You look at the Dallas Mavericks, which
they're coming. Both of those teams are coming.
Especially when they get Kristaps Porzingis back, and Luka Doncic has just been such an amazing player as well. And then Portland's on the rise. Golden State is kind of on the rise. If they hadn't lost Klay,
well, I don't. I'm not sure about that. Golden State's a big question mark because, mainly because of Klay Thompson's health. I mean, that's a big loss. If Klay can't come back healthy, I don't think the Warriors even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and it was just crushing. Like I could see the Warriors at best being like an 8 seed, maybe a 7 seed, but no Klay just really hurt them. The Phoenix Suns could be on the rise as well. Like, they have some promising talent, and getting Chris Paul just makes them even better.
That's a big pickup for them. Yeah, they could make the playoffs next year,
especially when we saw them in the bubble. They
were. Yeah, exactly. They were just a very impressive, scrappy young team. They did everything they could to possibly get into the playoffs. In that bubble thing. But yeah, they have a lot of young talent. They just haven't had the right coach or any veteran leadership. But now they do. Now they do in Chris Paul, and if they get right, they could go to the playoffs. Yeah. The West. The thing about the West is that it's stacked, and it pretty much goes through the Lakers. And obviously, I could see some teams challenging them, especially since they have 2 of the best players in the league, and they also have. They're also the reigning NBA champions, and it's tough to repeat as champions. Obviously, the Lakers did it back in 2000, 2001, and 2002, and then they obviously did it in 2009 and 2010. Probably could have done it in 2008 as well, had they not lost Andrew Bynum, but I digress. So, it is tough to repeat as champions, and even though LeBron has repeated as champions back when he was with the Heat, and then the Warriors have done so as well, but overall, I think the Lakers... He's only done it once, though, LeBron. He's only repeated once.
Yeah, I agreed. But you look at this Lakers roster, it's just so stacked. And The Clippers are good, but good is not going to win anything when it comes playoff time, and it showed when. And it showed. Like, it still to this day blows my mind how they blew a 3-1 lead, and I think they had like 15-point leads in games 5 and 6, and it still just makes me wonder what just went wrong. Like, why did they just fall apart? And are they just cursed, or did they just have ineptitude at the wrong time? So it's just a mystery that may never ever get solved.
Well, somebody made a point. I want to say it was Scott Kaplan of ESPN, or maybe it was somebody on TNT. But the Clippers had all sorts of off the court drama, surrounding. I mean, Patrick Beverley alone had so much, tragedy in his life. Just go back and Google what he went through, pre bubble. Lemon Pepper Lou, obviously, with the Atlanta club thing. What's that?
Magic City.
Yeah, and I think Montrezl Harrell went through something as well. Like, didn't he lose his grandmother or something? I forget.
Yeah, I think that was the case. I think Montrezl Harrell did lose his grandmother. It was one of the Clippers players.
Yeah. Just a very emotional time for a lot of their key players, and that coupled with being in the bubble, I just don't think they were mentally strong enough to really play in that bubble. I mentioned this on many occasions, in the previous podcast. Go back and listen to them. That the Lakers were the right team to win that title because they were the most mentally tough, the mentally toughest team in the bubble, because they had strong leadership in LeBron and Anthony Davis, and there's no fans, there's no crowd, and experience helps too. So and the Lakers were the ultimate road dogs last year. They were one of the, people forget the Lakers had one of the best, if not the best, road record in the NBA. Didn't they win? Did they win like 15 or 20 some odd games in a row on the road against Western Conference opponents? Going into the COVID shutdown.
I think that was the case, yeah. And then another thing is that every game they led going into the fourth quarter, they went undefeated. They never lost a game after they led in the third quarter, which was the biggest mind-blowing stat ever. And that's a great testament to how great of a job Frank Vogel did. And
yeah, I agree. Frank Vogel doesn't get enough credit for what for what he's done for that team. I mean, of course, LeBron and Anthony Davis are great, but I don't think anybody even expected the Lakers to go on the run that they did. They thought that maybe Frank Vogel. People were questioning whether or not Frank Vogel would even be up for the job in coaching such supreme talent, but he But he rose to the occasion, not just with LeBron and Anthony Davis in their offense, but defensively, he really turned them into a machine. Lakers had the number one defense in the NBA, and defense won them the title last year.
And now he's difficult with an even bigger task, considering how deep his team is. Like he has a difficult job of who he's going to play and where.
Yeah, finding minutes. Yes.
Yeah, because they have so many great options, and I just hate. It's gonna suck to see which player won't be getting as many minutes and which team is gonna get a good amount of minutes. But I know he's gonna do a great job in regards to finding the correct players and having the correct lineups and just coaching up a storm. And I think that it's gonna be a fun time for Lakers fans and in the entire Laker nation. And I think it's just going to be a great time for the Lakers because as they play well together, they're going to continue their success, and more players are going to want to come to the Lakers, and then more players are going to eventually want to maybe stay on the Lakers. Like big time players are going to want to stay on the Lakers, like Schroeder and Matthews Jr. and Harrell and LeBron and AD. Like who knows what LeBron wants to do in the near future? Like maybe he said he would be back. He would come back to the land, but to me, I think it would be great for him to end his career as a Laker. But we'll see. At least he's silencing the heretics when it comes to them saying, "Oh, he just went to the Lakers to increase his movie skills and whatnot." Like that, we could throw that take out the window, don't you think?
No, actually, I disagree. I think that was a big reason why he came to LA, because he, for those that don't know, LeBron has like a big contract deal with Warner Brothers, and as a result of that and him coming to LA, he's been doing a lot of production at the Warner Brothers studios and putting up a lot of popular content on HBO, and The Shop, for instance, has been really successful, but also other things like other hit series on HBO, like I forget which ones in particular, but a lot of great content on HBO and HBO Max, and as well as that game show on NBC. What's that Plinko-like game show that's on NBC? Do you know?
I'm
not
sure.
The one that Ellen DeGeneres used to host.
I think it was like Tower something and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to look that one up.
In Space Jam 2 is almost done, and obviously it was supposed to be done this year, but obviously it's been delayed because of COVID. But yeah, I don't know if he would have chosen the Lakers, if it weren't for his big deal with Warner. But at the same time, LeBron is a competitor. He's not just going to come to LA for fun and games. He knows what it means to be a Laker. He knows what it means to be in LA. People, if you're going to go to the Lakers, you're not just going to go there for all the fame, fortune, glitz, and glamour. We're a very passionate fan base, where we have a very winning culture. We have the winningest culture in all of the NBA. Even though we're tied with titles with the Celtics, the Lakers have the tiebreaker because they've been to more finals than the Celtics have. So LeBron. So we want winners, and LeBron knows that, and especially after Kobe died. That's when LeBron really took the torch. When he delivered that speech at Kobe's memorial service at the Staples Center, that's when maybe not all of Laker Nation. There's still some haters. Just go back and listen to some of the Mason and Ireland shows just recently. But but Mason and Ireland say this too. When he delivered that speech, and he he tossed those note cards. He wrote a speech and then he tossed it because he realized in the moment that he didn't need them. Actually, I'm sorry. It wasn't the memorial service. It was the first game after the first home game after Kobe's death. When he delivered that speech. But yeah, that was when he truly became a Laker, and when most, if not all, of Laker Nation accepted him as a Laker. Is when he delivered that speech, and he carried and then of course he carried the Lakers to the title, even through the pandemic, even after after the shutdown and into the bubble.
Yeah, and I still remember to this day that some of these so-called experts were saying that the Clippers have the deeper team, and then I think that's a testament to LeBron and how much he's matured, and like you said, what it means to be a Laker, because the Lakers definitely do have a winning culture. Obviously originally coming from Minneapolis, because some of my friends love to give me grief saying, the Lakers have 11 or 12 now, because some of those championships came from Minneapolis. But all I gotta say is hard to that. But either way, I'm glad LeBron is embracing the Laker role and what it truly means to be a Laker. And I hate that it had to come to Kobe passing. And honestly, if it were up to everyone, we would have liked to have seen Kobe witness the Lakers winning their 18th or 17th championship. But overall, it's just been a beautiful thing that LeBron has done a great job carrying the torch, and I think Kobe would be proud. He'd be proud of all of the Lakers and how they've managed and whatnot throughout the NBA season and what they're doing right now. And although they're going to be back on the court sooner rather than later, I think they're on a mission to keep up where they last left off, and make sure they don't let anyone get in their way, no matter who it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Colby's definitely proud. What more could you ask out of LeBron and this team? I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I hate that it took Kobe, passing away in a helicopter crash, along with his daughter and so many others, that we lost in that helicopter crash. Obviously, we prefer Kobe and Gigi to be here, and it's really sad that they're gone. We're definitely gonna miss hearing him speak, hearing him talk about basketball, seeing him tweet, and about something like Stephen A. Smith or Max Kellerman say, or Shaq, or what Shaq and Charles say on inside the NBA. I always enjoyed seeing those moments, and also the women's basketball is feeling his loss too, because of the way because of what he did for the Mamba Academy, and for women's basketball in general, and he's definitely going to be missed by legions of basketball fans and sports fans in general. But at the same time, that's when LeBron really took that torch and put the franchise on his back, and you could just tell the Lakers came together, just right after they got that news on the plane, and they touched down, and you saw them crying. After that, after they grieved and mourned, they immediately came together and said, "Let's do this for Kobe. Let's do this for Laker Nation." And even through, and even after COVID, you could tell LeBron, I mean, even on those Zoom calls, he could not wait to get back on the court, to win that title, and to campaign for social justice. And he knows he knows just watching Kobe. Kobe even said this to his face. The only way, no matter what you do, in sports, in basketball, and in life, the only way people are going to respect you, the only sports fans, Laker fans, are going to respect you is if you win. The only way they're going to accept you as one of the greatest, the all-time greatest, is if you win. And that's what LeBron did. And he won more than just a championship. He won so much more.
Yeah, so sorry to cut you off there, but
go ahead.
But winning definitely does make an impact, and winning just makes everything a whole lot better. And it gives the Lakers a little bit more, Laker fans a little bit more of being calm and saying everything's going to be all right. Obviously, we have new players and whatnot, and obviously what happened to Kobe sucks, but I think we're going to make things right. We're going to win it for him, and we're just going to do our thing, and we're going to make y'all proud. And I'm glad that LeBron and AD and everyone on the Lakers are embracing the role of being what a Laker truly means. And I still can't believe that the Lakers back in the day had so much ineptitude after Phil left, and then back in Kobe's final years, when they had so many unknown players like Robert Sacre.
You keep going back to Robert Sacre. It's I don't even want to remember him. It's for true passionate Laker fans that had to go through pain like that, back in those days, and then back in the LeVar, back when Lonzo Ball was with the Lakers, and that's the thing. That's a testament to Laker fans. I know Laker fans can sometimes get a bad rap, and I know sometimes we could be a little semi-obnoxious, but we're a passionate fan base. We love our team through thick and thin, and we just want to see our team just do well, and that's what it truly means to be a Laker fan. And we're going to ride and die with the Lakers, whether they go 82-0 or 0-82 and whatnot. But we're still going to ride or die with the Lakers, and nothing's going to change our mindset about that. If anyone wants to change our minds, then you can come step into the Staples Center, and we can come talk about it. I'm kidding though, but we're Lakers until we die. Yeah. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I was one of those fans that sat through, the tough years, when the Lakers were barely even winning a thing, after Phil left, after Meta left, Kobe got hurt, and we win 27-55, 15-67. We had Jeremy Lin and Carlos Boozer on, in the twilight of his career, and I'm just throwing out random names. And there were times that I didn't even want to turn on a Laker game. But I still watch because I'm not just a Laker fan. I'm a basketball fan. I can't live without my basketball. And that's why I feel like we're getting a bonus, just 2 months after we see the Lakers winning a championship, we're already getting basketball back. So, so what do what more can you say? I will say this though. I don't know how much time you have left.
We don't have any shows. We don't have any shows going live after this, but could definitely go ahead. Definitely go ahead.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say you keep bringing up the Ball family. Look, I don't even want to know where LeVar Ball is. I did get to thinking though about Lonzo Ball. Lonzo had a great year last year, and you talked about the Wild Wild West. You mentioned a lot of teams, including the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers. Keep your eye on the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm telling you, that team is going to gel. I think they could make the play. In fact, I know they're going to make the playoffs next year. I mean, granted, everybody has to be healthy, but Lonzo Zion had some good games. Lonzo got it together, and had a pretty good end of the season, or at the very least up until the COVID lockdowns. And Brandon Ingram, wasn't he voted the most improved player of the year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was one of the finalists at the very least.
Okay. Yeah. That team's coming together, and is Alvin Gentry still the coach, or did they fire him?
They fired him.
Who's their coach now?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, I thought they fired him prematurely. I mean, Alvin Gentry's a good
Stan
coach.
Van Gundy.
Oh, that's right. Well, I don't know about him. I don't know if he's the right. I mean, he's a good coach. I'm just not sure he's the right coach for this group. Stan Van Gundy's kind of one of those old school kind of guys, and I'm just not sure that his coaches. He's not a hard ass, but he sort of likes to he likes to shout and get animated and stuff. So yeah, I'm just not sure he's the right coach for this particular team, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened.
It is still 2020 for another 13 more days, then we can finally look forward to 2021, where hopefully everything is better. But did you have anything more you want to add before we wrap up here?
Just a question, and you guys in the chat room can weigh in too. Do you think we'll get to a point where we can have fans at games this year?
That's a very good question, and I want to say yes, but it's just not going to be it's going to be a new norm. I think it's not going to be like previously. Like it's going to have its new restrictions and whatnot. So
well, I only say this because this is the first show you've done. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first show you've done since the vaccine was announced, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not going to be back. We're certainly not going to be back to full normal right away. In fact, vaccines may not be available for mass distribution until March at the earliest. And it may not be then. It could be April. It could be May. And by the time May rolls around, we'll already be well into the playoffs. I mean, assuming the playoff schedule's like normal. We don't know yet because we only have the first half of the season, the regular season schedule. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here as to what the season's going to be like. Are there any teams? Are there any arenas that are allowing fans in?
I do not know. I know Staples Center for sure won't have any fans.
Oh yeah. California, we're like the COVID capital of the country right now, if not the world. You know, we're on practically full lockdown now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know if there's going to be
That's
any
not
fans allowed at any NBA games. Like, it's just going to be a waiting game to see what might happen. So I hope we get fans back, but if we don't have fans at games, then it's not the end of the world. But I would like to see some fans back.
Well, but here's the thing, though. The only reason why I asked is because, you know, there are, you know, again, every state is different with their restrictions. You know, we have, you know, we in New York, at least New York City, have the most restrictive, you know, policies when it comes to coronavirus. You know, no team is allowing fans in the stands in California. However, I only asked you because but if you go to Florida, you can go to a Dolphins game or you can go to a Tampa Bay Bucks game. You know, I mean, they're just allowing fans at limited capacity. Well, actually, I don't. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what. At the very least, 50% capacity. You know, they're a lot more lax than we are. Florida is, but yeah, they definitely allow fans in their stadiums, and in other stadiums like say you know, Kansas City. You know, they're allowing, like, you know, and Texas too, for that matter. They allow like 15,000 fans in their stadiums or something like that. Yeah. It's just different all across the board. So I'm just asking you if you know, because I haven't really been following a whole lot about you know, the NBA and their rules and restrictions. I'm just kind of getting into it, but do you know? And again, you guys can weigh in on the chat too. If you're listening live, do you know if other NBA arenas, like in Texas, like in Florida, are allowing fans in arenas?
Yeah, and that's something I will definitely probably revisit in the near future, but at the moment I haven't heard anything about allowing fans back into arenas and whatnot, so...
In any arena.
Yeah, in any arena, but overall, again, that is still a little something to ponder and wonder about, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they feel like they can get the NFL can get away with it. By they, I mean the NFL. They can get away with it a little more because, and again, it depends on local and state politicians in those states. But they feel that the football can get away with it because they're mostly outdoor stadiums. Indoor arenas might be a different story. Because you're a lot more insulated, and coronavirus can bounce off the walls and stuff. So maybe they feel like it's not. Maybe even local politicians, feel that it's not safe to allow indoor arenas to open yet. But all in all, I mean, I no matter where you are, I'm sure everybody's just anxious to. Get back to normal, and the one of the first things I'm going to do when the country gives it the all clear is I'm gonna buy some tickets for basketball games and concert tickets and whatnot. Maybe even go to a Rams game, because I can't wait to check. I cannot wait to check out that new SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, same here. And the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Same with your Chargers too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers are allowing 300 fans in the stands, and the Raptors will have fans in the stands when they play at Tampa Bay. And notice I said when they play at Tampa Bay, because the Raptors they will not be playing in Toronto this upcoming year.
Yeah. The Prime Minister in Canada is not allowing anybody or anything basically right now. It's like California.
Yeah, but
actually, no, it's not even like California. They're not even allowing the Toronto Raptors to play in their own arena, and it's complicated, and which is understandable because it's complicated, because it's still considered international travel. Customs are a lot more difficult when you're traveling internationally. In some cases, you can't travel internationally at all. Because of COVID. If in most cases, even if you go to Hawaii, if you go there, you got to quarantine for a couple weeks. And the NBA doesn't want the Toronto Raptors and the NBA don't want to have to deal with that. So the only thing they can do is to play, internationally within the confines of the United States, where the NBA is located.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. But this will definitely be revisited next week, and especially when the NBA especially when the NBA gets into full swing, and we'll be seeing what's more to expect. So, but I definitely thank you for being a guest on today's show, Justin. It definitely means a lot, and I'm glad you and I can talk some Rams and some Lakers/NBA.
Yeah. Yes. Same here. I just kind of decided at the last minute that, or we kind of decided at the last minute that I'd be a part of this, and I'm happy that we were able to just let things flow, and it's good that I can bounce off the sports expert, who's the sports experts, I should say. I'm including you, and I'm including Larry. Just getting more information on what's happening in sports, because it's hard to keep up with all the crazy news going on in the country and in the world.
Yes, and again, all we could just do is hope that everything gets back to normal, or a new norm, and hope that everyone's just got to do their part to flatten the curve, whether it's wearing your mask or socially distancing yourself or washing your hands or sanitizing your hands and whatnot. But everyone's got to do their part.
Don't cluster. That's the main thing. Don't cluster. Don't go to, parties of 30, 60, 160 people like those idiots in Palmdale did. Just be smart. Don't be an idiot, and don't be an a-hole. When you go into stores.
Yes, and if you want sports back, just do your part and don't be a dick about it. But on that note, we're actually going to take ourselves a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're pretty much going to wrap up. We're going to try to go rapid fire on everything else that's happened, such as the Chargers and college basketball and the college football. So you're listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on iSports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that commissioner's trophy when it's all said and done.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. We're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And you can check out all of our amazing shows here on iSports Radio on different platforms such as Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, you name it. So thank you very much to my amazing brother, Teran Rodriguez, for tuning in. I haven't been updating everybody on the USC-Oregon game, but so far it's halftime, and unfortunately, Oregon leads USC 21-14. I am very frustrated at how USC is playing right now. Kedon Slovis has 2 interceptions. He's 15 for 26. USC just looks totally unprepared. And this is the game where they cannot be unprepared because this is for all the marbles in the Pac-12. USC wonders why they don't get any respect in the college football playoff. This is the reason why. They have ineptitude such as this. I can't believe they are struggling with an Oregon team who lost to Cal and Oregon State. Granted, Oregon State was improved, but this is unacceptable. Like, what are you doing, Kedon Slovis? You do not throw it into double coverage. You do not throw it off your heel to the point where there's a defender waiting right at you, ready to pick the ball. It's so frustrating. It's the biggest game of the season, and they're blowing it. I cannot deal with this. It's never easy when it comes to USC. It's like USC is basically the Chargers almost. USC finds ways to try to lose games, but unlike the Chargers, USC finds ways to pull out the victory in the final quarter, or second half, which is the case last week when they played UCLA. UCLA led them at as much as 18, and then USC started to chip away at the lead, and there were times where USC could have taken the lead sooner rather than later, but then Kedon Slovis gave the ball back to UCLA, and then eventually UCLA went up more, and then fortunately Kedon Slovis went into fourth quarter mode, and he went into freaking God mode, and he led USC to the victory. And the victory bell for the second straight year. And the Pac-12 South was already decided when Colorado lost to Utah. But I just don't want to see USC. I want to see USC win the Pac-12. I don't want to see them lose on the biggest stage of the game, because this is an Oregon team. This is clearly not the same Oregon team from last year, but this is an Oregon team that beat them last year at the Coliseum, and so far USC is just not showing the same fight that I thought they would show in the near future, that I would originally think they would show. Like, I had USC winning 38-17 on 3-and-Out College Edition, and so far that my prediction's not going to be it's not going to be anywhere near true. Like, I know USC has a short week, and Oregon has a had a 2-week vacation or 2 weeks to prepare. I know USC had to shift from preparing for Washington to preparing for Oregon, and I know USC is without Vavae Alapai, but USC should not be this flat. This is the number 13 team. This is the best team in the Pac-12, which I know that doesn't say anything, but this is the reason why the Pac-12 doesn't get any love. This is the reason why the Pac-12 is pretty much in the gutter, and it's pretty much the reason why no Pac-12 team gets any love in the college football playoff. And the Pac-12 is the worst Power 5 conference in football this year. It's just ridiculous, and USC is just making themselves look like clowns, and it's definitely disheartening. And I wish Mike Bond would step up. And I know I don't want to bring the AD into this, but he obviously was the AD at Cincinnati, and now he's the AD at USC. He gets to jump from the AAC all the way to the Pac-12, and that's a huge jump and a huge honor. He doesn't know what it means to be a USC Trojan, not unlike Pat Hayden and Lynn Swann and all those other past USC ADs. But I kind of wonder what could happen if USC somehow loses this, because USC, everyone knew that USC and Oregon were going to meet in the Pac-12 championship. Well, at least everybody did, at least. And then it eventually was supposed to be Washington. And then what happened with Washington was they didn't get clearance to travel to California because of their governor in Washington. So all in all, USC is losing to a team that started the season off 3-0, then lost 2 straight, and pretty much was broken after then. But again, USC just had everything going wrong for them, and you kind of have to point the finger at the Pac-12. But I just know USC is so much better than this, and this is ridiculous. They gotta start playing better, otherwise their Pac-12 championship hopes and their national championship hopes will be going down the tube. But I don't see USC playing in the college football championship. Unless, of course, everyone stops playing football and everyone else has to cancel their games. But I don't see that happening. So that's pretty much that for college football. In terms of the NFL, we'll go back to the NFL. We'll talk some Chargers action. The Chargers have now won 2 in a row. They beat the Falcons on Sunday, and they beat the Raiders yesterday on Thursday Night Football. And it was their first primetime win under the watchful eye of Justin Herbert. And it was a great victory for the Chargers. It was also their first divisional win in 10 tries. I couldn't believe that they had lost 9 in a row going into this game. And I knew the Chargers had a chance, considering the Raiders were without 4 of their top defensive players, such as Jonathan Abram, Nick Morrow, Damian Arnett, and Clee Harrell. But the Chargers also had some banged-up guys as well. Joey Bosa was not at 100% on defense. Keenan Allen was battling a hamstring injury. Mike Williams was battling a back injury, and he still played. Austin Eckler wasn't 100%. The Chargers had to... Justin Herbert threw to, first and second year guys. He threw to rookies and sophomores. He threw to, players like Jalen Guyton, KJ Hill, and Kyron Johnson. Kyron Johnson. And imagine if Justin Herbert were throwing to players like Keenan Allen. I think maybe the Chargers would have won by more than 3 points. And they had to win in overtime too. And fun fact, the last time a Thursday Night Football game went OT was when the Chargers and the Raiders played. Back when the Chargers were in San Diego and back when the Raiders were in Oakland. And Oakland managed to win that game by 3. So it's good to see that the Chargers got a little revenge on Thursday Night Football, and they got the divisional monkey on their back. So today they're celebrating a Victory Friday, and their next game will be against Denver, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And they'll get a whole lot of time to rest and pretty much lick their wounds and hopefully get the victory over Denver. Obviously, their winning hurts their draft stock, but to me, I don't care. Like, I want to see the Chargers improve. Like, they've already tied their win total from last year. They have a chance to exceed it next year. But here's my thing. If the Chargers do start to string together some late wins, do they keep Anthony Lynn long term? Like, I still want to see I don't want to see Anthony Lynn as the head coach. Like, you look at Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn is almost like Mike McCoy 2.0. Like, Mike McCoy lasted 4 seasons. Mike McCoy's first season, the Chargers went to the playoffs. Mike McCoy's second season, they failed to make the playoffs, though they did have an over 500 record. And then Mike McCoy's third and fourth years, the Chargers missed the playoffs. They had abysmal records, and he got fired. The firing was sealed after the Chargers lost to the then 0-14 Cleveland Browns. The same can be said for Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn had a successful season in his first year. After the Chargers went 0-4, the Chargers wound up finishing 9-7, almost made the playoffs, but lost via tiebreaker to the Bills and the Titans, which was very sad because one of those teams didn't even bother showing up. Then the second year, the Chargers made the playoffs, tied for the divisional crown with the Kansas City Chiefs, but since the Chiefs had the tiebreaker, they won the divisional crown, and that was that. The Chargers did win a playoff game, and that's something that Mike McCoy and Anthony Lynn have in common. They both guided the Chargers to playoff victories in the wild card round. The only problem is that the divisional round has kind of been their boogeyman, except for 2013. 2013, the Chargers had a chance. The problem was that they faced Denver. And for Anthony Lynn, they faced the true boogeyman in the New England Patriots, which obviously the Phillip Rivers saga against Tom Brady just has not gone in the favor of Rivers, as well as the Chargers, who have not beaten the Patriots in, forever. They haven't beaten them since 2009 when the Patriots started Matt Castle. But I digress on that. So, Anthony Lynn is to me, is just not the answer long term. I think the Chargers need to get someone suitable for Justin Herbert. I think Anthony Lynn's just a little too old school, and his clock management is just not good. So, we'll see how it goes for the Chargers. I just want to see them close out the victory strong. I could see the Chargers beating the Broncos, because Drew Lock has definitely been impressive, but he's certainly not invincible. You look at the first time that the Chargers and the Broncos played, it got to the point where Broncos fans were booing him off the field and hoping he would get benched for... I forget who the backup QB for the Broncos is. I think it's something Ripon or Jeff Driscoll. But either way, they were just booing Drew Lock and the rest of the Broncos offense for only putting up 3 points. So here's the thing. If the Chargers can get Joey Bosa back to as fully healthy as possible, I think they win that game with ease. But if Bosa isn't playing and they just... if Bosa doesn't play, then the Chargers defense is gonna break and not bend, because they had a tough time putting away the Raiders. The Raiders game last night was so frustrating. Let's fast forward to overtime. The Chargers lost the coin toss because Tyrod Taylor decided to say tails instead of heads. When it comes to coin flips, you always got to go heads. You can't go wrong with heads. And the Raiders actually got down to the Chargers 3 or 4 yard line, and eventually the Raiders failed to get the touchdown. They had to settle for 3, and then Justin Herbert was a man on a mission. He had a deep ball, I think it was a 50-plus yard deep ball to Jalen Guyton, who eventually found his way at the 2 yard line, and eventually Herbert and the Chargers got to the 1 yard line. Fortunately for Justin Herbert, unfortunately for Justin Herbert, he fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line, but it was recovered by Gabe Neighbors. However, the there's this little interesting rule, the holy roller rule, where only the fumbler can recover his own fumble, and they basically put the ball back to the original spot before everything happened, and it was basically a loss of down. So it was third down, and then Justin Herbert got in for the quarterback sneak, and the Chargers won, which made me happy. Yay! But they really had to make it tough on themselves. Like, Michael Basley missed 2 field goals, and the defense was just not good. Like, the same could be said for the Raiders defense, but the Raiders have a decent excuse. They promoted Rob Marinelli after they fired Paul Gunther, and they were missing 4 of their top defensive players because they were on the COVID list. So I think the Raiders deserve a little bit more of a break. The Chargers, I know, have had a beaten up defense, but to me, I think that they could have done a little bit better. But that's just me. So we'll see what the Chargers can do, and that's actually going to be it for the Chargers. So we don't have too much time left. We're almost approaching 2 hours. Sheesh. Time flies when you're freaking having fun. So I'm actually going to try to speed through the NCAA men's basketball. Or let's just go over what happened today. So today we had a Southern California team no longer be undefeated. We had San Diego State, number 18, lose to BYU 72-62. And unfortunately, BYU beat San Diego State in another sport again. Meaning San Diego State's kryptonite is basically BYU this year, which is sad. Funny thing is that BYU actually lost to USC by a substantial amount. So I think USC's win over BYU is looking more impressive, and that could factor in when it comes to NCAA tournament time. So hopefully we do get to see USC in the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, USC's program has been put on hold because of COVID issues. And the same can be said for Long Beach State, which really sucks. And I hate to see that happen. And I hope that every one of those players gets situated and at Long Beach and USC. A noteworthy game that's coming up on the NCAA men's basketball side is UCLA Ohio State in the CBS Sports Classic. That's going to be some fun times. And then UCSB plays Pepperdine and Cal Poly plays Loyola Marymount. That's kind of a West Coast Conference, Big West Conference crossover. So I'm liking that. I'm liking what I see. And then Westmont plays Bakersfield, but that's not too big. Oh wait, no, that got canceled. I'm sorry. But yeah, USC, Oregon State got postponed. It really sucks, man. I can't wait for this whole COVID thing to just go away. San Diego plays Arizona on Monday. Arizona's going to be a tough matchup for the Toreros. Cal Baptist plays Southern. A team from Southern California that has been struggling has UC Irvine, but they're playing some tough teams. And their only 2 wins are against NAIA programs. As I say hello to Pierre Moss in the chat room. He says, "What's good, Teran? Thank you for tuning in, my brother. It really means a lot. And hopefully your Giants do get the victory, but it's going to be tough facing the Cleveland Browns. But you never know." Pierre is the co-host of the show that never sleeps, and he and Harrison Glaser do an excellent job when it comes to that show. So good stuff right there, and keep up the good work, Pierre. So I'm just going to talk a little about NCAA women's basketball. UCSB fell to Santa Clara 82-60. And that's pretty much that in terms of Southern California women's basketball today. A noteworthy matchup that's more than likely going to be a blowout is USC facing number 1 Stanford at home. And that's pretty much going to end in travesty for the Trojans, because Stanford's head coach just recently got her 1,099th win, which puts her ahead as the all-time winningest coach in NCAA women's basketball or something like that. And she's going to go for win number 1,100 this weekend. So USC's going to need to play a lot of good defense. But that Stanford team is fully loaded. Like I just don't see that happening. And then number 11 UCLA plays Cal on tomorrow, which I could see that being in favor of UCLA. Cal has no wins on the season, so I don't see the Golden Bears winning that. I'm sorry, Cal, but that's kind of how the ball bounces. And then Cal Poly, Cal Baptist. Cal Baptist is surprisingly 7-0 in NCAA women's basketball. That is awesome sauce. So I could see Cal Baptist winning that. UC Irvine and San Diego State face each other on Saturday. That's going to be some fun times. And Santa Clara plays UC Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is winless, but you never know. So, and then on Sunday we have Lil Marymount playing LSU in the duel in the desert. And then we have UC Irvine playing at San Diego on Sunday in women's basketball. And unfortunately, Pepperdine at Cal State Fullerton is canceled, and then Bakersfield canceled their game, which sucks, but it is what it is. Like, again, I can't wait for this whole COVID thing to blow over. A noteworthy game this Monday is number 1 Stanford at number 11 UCLA. That's going to be a fun game. I cannot wait to see Stanford and UCLA duke it out against one another. Like, UCLA has already lost to Arizona, but in women's basketball. But to me, I think it's USC did something stupid in terms of football. But back to UCLA Stanford in women's basketball. That's going to be a fun game, and I can't wait for that match. And hopefully we do get to see the Bruins pull out the upset against number 1 Stanford. But they're going to need to do a lot. Like, a lot. So, we'll see how it goes. And then Cal Poly and San Diego State face one another. UC San Diego kicks off its season Monday against Cal Baptist. That game's actually going to be televised on ESPN3. So UC San Diego is making its debut after a multitude of games got postponed. And I don't even think they were supposed to have any games lined up in terms of non-conference games. But I'm glad to see that the Tritons, who are now a newly found member of the Big West Conference, will be playing in some action. But Cal Baptist is freaking good, though, so it's going to be tough. Indeed. And I think, and also Cal Poly and San Diego State face one another on Tuesday. Ever since Cal Poly got thrashed by Stanford in their first game of the season, they have actually won 3 in a row. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the Mustangs gallop against the Aztecs. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's going to do it for tonight's show. Next week, I'm not entirely certain, as I'm thinking of moving this show to Wednesday for that week because it's Christmas. Because obviously I'm not going to have a show on Christmas Day. That would be a fat N-O. And honestly, and I can't move it to Thursday because that's Christmas Eve. So I'm thinking Wednesday. I'm thinking we move this show to Wednesday at 5 p.m., so it's pretty much going to be a triple-decker when it comes to shows. It's going to be... Actually, no, it's a double-decker. It's going to be the show that never sleeps, and that's going to be the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And then when it comes to Tuesday, I'm going to be going live with Set Point still at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And spoiler alert to those that are listening, I actually have a guest lined up. Who is this guest? You'll be finding out in a little bit. Sorry, I'm not going to have any spoilers. But without any further delay, thank you all for tuning in. And let's get on out of here, because it is way past dinner time. So once again, thank you all for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I know I went to 2 hours, and that's kind of my fault, because my brother and I talked a little much about Lakers and Clippers and the Rams, but I think, but it was great to have him back on. So As of right now, Oregon is driving. It's fourth down. It's fourth and inches, and Oregon has the ball to start out because USC got the ball to start out in the first half. And I'm just hoping USC pulls out this victory. I still can't believe USC is having this much ineptitude. They gotta step it up defensively, and their offense needs to freaking wake up. And Keaton Slovis, you've gotta do what you need to do in order to be better. Because wait, why does Oregon have a new quarterback? Anthony Brown is in? Interesting. Anyway, I will see you all next week. Saturday I have a game I'm calling on Saturday. I'm calling Boise State at San Jose State in the Mountain West Championship, and it's going to be fun. So I'll see you all then. I'm calling that game on Wellington Sports Radio, and if you don't see me on Saturday, I will see you Tuesday for Set Point. Have yourselves a great weekend, happy holidays, and just remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace and blessings.